How's it going?
Good. How are you, Tom?
I'm all right.
All right.
What are we doing?
I forced you to watch Rebel Moon Part 2, and then I forced you to also talk about it with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not going to forgive you for this one.
The sort of online feedback, I don't really look at that.
Let's get it out of the way. You never saw the first one.
I did not see the first one, and I thought that might be a problem, and I truly don't think it was. That's the whole first hour of this movie is just exposition that you shouldn't be doing in a part 2.
Which is so funny because you texted me that there was so much exposition, and like I didn't even notice because there's so much exposition in part 1. The whole movie is just like introducing things, and then the movie ends.
And then there's a huge battle, and it's over. And then, spoilers. They set up that there's more. There's going to be more.
I know. I was shocked.
To break this thing down, we do need to address two things, which is Zack Snyder and Star Wars, right? Because this is supposed to be Zack Snyder's iteration of Star Wars, is the origin of this, right? He went to studio, they're like, Zack Snyder's history with IP is bad, we're not giving you a Star Wars movie. And then he just changed some shit to call it Star Wars, and here we are. But it checks all the boxes of a Zack Snyder movie, which is, it's pretty, there's a ton of slow motion, and the action sequences are good. Like well thought out, well planned. It checks most of the boxes of a Star Wars movie, which are lightsabers, but more so a group of unlikely people coming together to stand against the overarch that is the Galactic Empire. And then the good guys win, and there's some more mystical bullshit.
Sure, I mean, but the one thing that he does so much worse than Star Wars or movies is there are no characters in the movie. Like, right. I think I talked about this briefly. We talked about the first one like a few months ago, but they're literally not characters. They're just like people that say lines, and then they stand. You didn't watch the first one. Each character gets introduced, they have a little fight scene,
right,
and then they're literally in the background of the rest of the movie. It's like they're like above the line extras.
This movie, I feel like Zack Snyder wants to make TV. Like, big budget TV. Like, before the big battle scene, you got the one bald black guy who's like, oh, all my men died and I got, like, firebombed and shit. And I'm like, his last line in that sequence is, I surrendered once and I won't do it again. Know that before you go into battle movie. What a great way to end a fucking scene.
Yeah.
And then cut to next day battle scene.
But
let's do every single character's why.
That's the thing with this movie, is that there are parts that I couldn't believe were happening. And that was one of them, where it's like, we have to go through, was it 5 or 6 characters' backstories?
I think it's 6.
In flashbacks. But first of all, backstories aren't very interesting because it's not character development. It's just saying a backstory. That's all it is. But they also had the exact same backstory. Every single person had a flashback, and they were like, the Empire killed my whole family and fucked up all this shit, and now I'm mad at them.
To punish me, my men were executed before my eyes.
The Imperium troops slaughtered everything and everyone.
I lost my mother and my world that day.
Well said. We'll drink to that.
That was, so I watched it with my wife, and I paused so many times just to rant, which is already a bad start for me. When I'm actively like, I need to shut this off so I can just get this out of my fucking head.
Yeah.
And that too, that was when I started, I'm like, wait, he just finished the monologue that sets up everything you need to go into the thing.
Yeah.
I don't care that the robot arm lady cut her arms off. You know,
and the problem is that they're just like, he doesn't know how to write these people. They have to be the most boring asshole characters I've ever seen on screen. Like, I don't think you can say a distinguishable trait between any of them besides like they're stoic. They're heroes.
Yeah, you got the Last of the Mohicans guy, and I'm only saying that because he does the Last of the Mohicans thing. He runs in with 2 hatchets, and
Right.
But yeah,
there were a couple characters that showed up at the end battle that I swear to God, I was like, have we seen that guy before?
the X-wing stuff.
There was the guy who jumped onto the ship and starts beating up the main bad guy.
Oh yeah.
Who was that? Was that a dude from?
I thought he didn't have a flashback. This is also the problem here, right? Is like
I don't think he had a flashback.
so many of these characters are just very ripped, bearded dudes with mediocre to no actual character development. And yeah, by the time we get to the end of it, I'm like, sure. Why is that guy pissed? Like you said, they're above the line extras, is what most of them feel like. So the movie opens like Anthony Hopkins, James the robot, which, explain that guy a little bit to me. Because
James the robot was left there from the Imperial guys. So when they left the soldiers behind, they also left the robot behind.
Okay.
But what's interesting about him is that he has his big heroic moment in the battle in this movie. He already made that turn in the first movie, like immediately.
Where he's like, okay.
When they're about to rape the girl, he kills the last soldier.
Huh.
Kill this.
And I was like 30 minutes into that film.
So he should already be on their side.
Yeah, so that was another, when they're doing that big epic scene when he like saves the day, I'm like, well, why didn't he just do that shit?
Yeah, why wasn't he already on the team?
What's going on?
So we're moving on to the next part. There's like 3 separate montages of the villagers like harvesting the crops in slow motion.
Yeah, slow-mo. That's
no-
where my wife was like, what the fuck with the slow motion? And I think it's probably a short film if you just do everything in regular speed.
Right, yeah. It's probably like an hour long. Slow motion is fine to an extent, but like you have to limit it. And the problem with those scenes though is that they're not moving the story. You need one of those scenes.
That's like 30 seconds.
You don't need 3 of them.
Yeah.
He's just like he can't help it, but just like stretch everything out.
Why did Rebel Moon's action sequence have so much slow motion? The obvious answer is slow motion is awesome. The use of slow motion to me is a way of just embellishing heroic moments that our heroes go through.
Can we talk about the part that made me laugh out loud? Sure. And I don't know if anyone else has the same effect, but right around still in the kind of beginning part, Cora is talking to her boyfriend guy about her past, and it does the flashback where she's walking out of the ship with the guy who looks like Will Ferrell in a fake SNL beard, and they come off and you hear like the score pick up. There's like this orchestrated score, and I guess I didn't see that there were whatever. It cuts to the orchestra right there like a comedy shot. It felt like a fucking parody. And then Will Ferrell in a fake beard walks up to another guy in a fake beard. So the fake beard number 2 guy kills the king and the queen. And then the orchestra in the background, because clearly he's thinking this is like my red wedding scene from Game of Thrones. But the difference is that in Game of Thrones, they weren't scoring the scene.
Right.
The guys playing the music in the background are literally scoring the scene with like the shrieking strings and shit.
So that was my other pause moment, was that. I paused it after that scene and was like, for that reason, of like, what the... You want me to take this shit seriously? And that's how you're doing it? It's a combo of like the violin players on the Titanic and, like you said, the Red Wedding thing.
Which if they just filmed it a little differently, you just had to have the violin players as the establishing shot, because them being in the scene is fine if whatever.
Whatever, they're playing music in a room. It's weird, but it's not.
It's the way that they had a wide shot and it felt like it was part of the movie score.
Because it is. It's not like, hey, play this track. Like, it works in Game of Thrones because the music shifts and it's kind of established already that that's like the Lannisters theme song.
Yeah.
And then they're still playing, but like it's in the room and that's just what's going on. It's not like, okay, and here's also the build around it.
Yeah. These people are like, oh, something cool's happening.
Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, knife wound. Like, so yeah, it's stupid.
This is just a minor point, but like, you know, everyone in the room knows that obviously this was a setup to make her look like she assassinates the princess.
Right.
But they order her to do it, and then they all have to point and yell, "Assassin!" Like angrily yell her. I'm like, guys, you planned this out. You don't have to make it known what you're doing.
The audience has to be so dumb. You're expecting the audience to be so fucking dumb. And it moves at such a weird pace where it's like crawling. Okay, now you killed a princess. Okay. Assassin. Get it, guys? We're chasing her now. I don't understand any of the bad guy motivations either, is the other problem. Like so I guess, so what? She kills him in the first one, right? Or thinks she kills him? Yeah. And then we start this movie with like, haha, does he get saved in the first one at some point? Or we're just,
the very last scene is the dreadnought ship comes and picks him up and puts some tubes in him.
But again, what is that guy's motivation? Just, I'm a dick?
He's mad because the scar giver.
Because of the thing on his chest, that much I got.
She gave him a scar.
And that's the only reason she has that name. Let's talk about the name first, because that was why I didn't want to watch. The first one is like a child of fire.
Yeah. Yeah, the scar giver sounds like it's like this like prophecy kind of thing.
And
like,
it's not, it's just because she cut that dude that one time.
He just made her a nickname in the first minute of the movie. That's it.
Great. So it's not like...
Nope.
There's no... Well, this one I watched. There's no... because no one at any point is like, I also have a scar. It's like, it's just...
Just him.
Great.
Yep.
Great. I was really hoping that was going to have some actual... To a prophecy that, right? The scar giver will come and do it. None of that shit.
Nope.
Oh, man.
The scar giver herself.
I do think there's some cool things in this movie. Like it does the fight scenes I do think are well. I did think when the thing's crashing and they're like sliding down and trying to fight, I thought that was a cool sequence. I don't care about the love story stuff.
I liked when they swooshed the lightsaber at the end.
Yeah.
And it like carried the light ray behind it.
I think that was cool. I think, because the last couple of Star Wars movies, right? Like, Rise of Skywalker is also a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
This does some cool things better. I'll say that I haven't seen a cool lightsaber fight in a Star Wars movie in a while. Everything, even the shows, have just been kind of stilted. Mm-hmm. I think all that stuff in this was pretty good.
I don't know if I would agree with you there, but
on the lightsaber stuff.
I mean, it was okay. It went into like CGI mess territory so quickly. I was like, you know what, if they carried out the choreography a little bit more before the ship starts exploding and they're like sliding down it, that's always fine if it's like the last part of the whatever. But yeah, there were some visuals that were nice. In fact, I thought the best visuals were at the very end of that whole battle when they're flying away as the gigantic dreadnought ship is crashing.
Yeah, but that's also the end of
a lot of movies.
A lot of movies.
Yeah.
There's just so many things out there that do what this tried to better. And in a very convoluted, not convoluted, but when there's that many options for things to watch now, this is skippable because you can watch any version of this story play out better in a litany of things. And that's probably why I just was bored by it more than anything else. I was like, well, I've seen this, and I've seen it better, sizably better.
Yeah.
Not even just in Star Wars. Just there's so many movies that do this trope of take down the big bad class warfare thing in space. So,
Yeah. I started it at 5 o'clock and I finished at 2 a.m.
well, so that's the other thing. I finished it and I messaged you, and you're like, I'm not done with it yet. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
I couldn't handle it. I was like halfway through it. I was like, I literally cannot go on any further right now.
God is hanging out there!
So Tom, is there anything new going on in your life that you would like to shamelessly plug?
Nope.
I'll tell him for you.
Yeah, you do it.
Tom is pitching a new idea to Shark Tank every single day for the rest of the year. He's done 70-something pitches so far. You're an absolute madman, and you should go follow him at Hey Sharks on
All of the things.
all the things.
Hey Sharks _ on all of the things. Someone already had Hey Sharks and I didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the last video I did about Halo was the least viewed video on my channel.
Cool.
So let's see if we can get this to be the new least viewed video
It
on
probably
the channel.
will.
Yeah.
Great.